Hey guys, it's CD from AK3R, and Kris has officially responded to SM Entertainment's lawsuit. In this episode of Unpopular K-Pop Opinions, we're gonna talk about it. Now, I read his statement several times, and I am some kind of confused. So I will read it to you guys, and you guys also, and we'll talk. You tell me what you think. On January 13th, 2008, Kris became an SM trainee in a foreign country to fulfill his dream of becoming a star. During his time as a trainee, his debut plans kept getting pushed back by SM Entertainment on multiple occasions. And after debuting in 2012, in January of 2013, when the group was recording, Kris found out that his part, for which he had practiced for about 10 days, had suddenly been canceled or cut. He asked why this was, and they forcefully asked him to leave EXO for a few months, disturbing Kris's career. After multilateral negotiations, Kris returned to the team, but was continuously treated unfairly and oppressively. SM's discriminatory treatment, unbearable treatment, and a lack of vacation resulted in a serious health problem for Kris. From July of 2013, Kris worked while taking medication, and in July of 2014, he was diagnosed with myocarditis, which for those of you who do not know, that is inflammation of the heart. He was diagnosed in China. Despite these situations, SM did not look after Kris and his health. Furthermore, due to unfair profit allocation and lack of support in Kris's development, he lost all trust in SM's management. Due to the reasons above, Kris unfortunately had to file a lawsuit against SM Entertainment with the Seoul District Court on May 15, 2014. The court later ordered SM to grant management rights to him outside of Korea. Kris's side considered the court's decision fair, but even after a year of negotiations, SM did not accept the court's decision, and they continued to take the issue to court. Kris has always been thankful for SM, and he is also thankful for everyone who has helped him develop. He has wished to accept the court's decision previously, and he will continue to accept what the court deems appropriate. Moreover, Kris is currently working with a Chinese-Korean legal team to solve the issue, and as promised, he will continue his Chinese schedule. He will not make any claims to the SM Entertainment's contract with him until the lawsuit is settled, and he will leave all matters to the legal team. Okay, first things first, his debut getting pushed back as a trainee, that is common. That can happen to anyone. That has happened to many people so many times. I mean, that's a common thing as a trainee. You're bound. If you were ever a trainee under any company, you would know that your debut is always up in question. There have been trainees who have debuted for 7 years, like Suho did. There have been trainees who debuted for 10 years. And then recently we heard for, like, Jisoo from JYP, who trained for 15 years. This stuff is common. Also, unfortunately, the decline in health also is a common thing in the K-pop world. I know AJ from UKISS also had heart problems. I think he had the same thing, and that resulted in him having to get open heart surgery. AJ. Now, what makes me look at this thing funny, of course, is the part where he says that he was thankful and grateful to SM and for those who helped him develop. Because, first of all, I'm like, if you were grateful, you would not have left a week before the concert and the world tour, because that's not what someone who's grateful is. If you were grateful, you wouldn't do that, because that makes everyone else suffer. I'm just saying. And another thing that doesn't make sense to me is the part where it says that because his part in that recording had been canceled, they made him leave. Now, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. When SHINee debuted back in 2008, Taemin's part in Replay got cut because his voice was not... Let's just say he's a better singer now than he was back then. Now, what makes even less sense to me is you're telling me they forced you out of the group for several months because you asked why your part had been cut in the recording. Am I the only one who's confused? I think that there's more to that than what Kris is saying. I think there's more to that, because that really doesn't make sense. Okay, SM's done some stupid stuff, but I mean, really, guys, doesn't matter if you support Kris or not, that does not make sense. SM's done some stupid stuff. But there are certain things that even SM wouldn't do. Yeah, and like I said in other videos, there are things that other companies have done that not even SM would do. And another question I have, why is it that they took better care of Lay than they did Kris? Because Lay also suffers from a blood disorder. I think it's either anemia or sickle cell. I think it's sickle cell. He suffers from a blood disorder, and we haven't heard anything come out of Lay in terms of health problems. And right now, if you're following EXO right now, Lay is working himself to death, okay? Because he's doing stuff in China, and he has to fly back over to Korea to perform with EXO. Lay is, but I haven't heard anything bad in terms of his health problems, so what can you say? And also, the management, because I've read this article on several different websites, and some people say he questioned the managers why his part had been cut. He asked it was the managers discriminating against him. Now, I think we're at a point now in SM then and now in the past. If you compare SM now to SM back then, I feel like you have to look deeper into it. You can't generalize the situation. Like, for example, also, is the people who manage EXO, are they SM managers or are they a separate company? Because some idols are managed by a separate agency and not their main company. Like I know 2AM and Miss A, for a while, they were managed by separate companies outside of JYP. Like I said, I really want to know, is it specifically the managers? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I know one of the former members of Top Dog Global, one of the members of the subunit, said that he had gotten unfair treatment. It wasn't by everyone in Stardom Entertainment, though. And it was even one of the Top Dog members. I don't know if it was a subunit member or the main group. It wasn't everyone in the company, but it was enough to make him leave. And in this situation, is it SM as a whole, or is it specific individuals or group of people within the company? That's the question. And it's believable. I'll say this much. It's believable because it's SM. I wouldn't put it past them, but at the same time, it's not. I mean, are we seriously going to sit here and believe that they cut his part for no reason and then made him leave? I mean, are we seriously going to believe this? Now, but of course, there's many other factors. Okay, another argument is the opposite, the opposing argument. On the other side, you have EXO, who, of course, we all know wasn't really happy about Kris's leaving. They didn't exactly say any nice things about him. A lot of people thought that SM was making them say that, but it turns out it was all of them. It was all them. And to be honest, I feel, okay, from what I've seen in this argument, in this situation, on Kris's side, only people really supporting him, his lawyers and his fans. On the opposite side, EXO was against him. Even other members of SM Entertainment were against him. I mean, like, when I saw Heechul on War of Words and he was not defending Kris, I'm looking at him like, whoa, this is Heechul we're talking about. Hangen's bestie, like Hangen's best friend, talking bad about Kris. Like, that's how I knew that there was a lot more to the situation than the stereotypical SM abused me, I'm leaving, save my life. And yeah, like I said, I feel like at this point in time, we can't generalize the situation because I feel like there's more, that is a group of individuals within SM. Because how is it that Henry, Zumi, Amber, and Victoria, who are all Chinese, well, correction, Henry and Amber are Taiwanese. I don't know if they identify as Chinese. I don't know. But some people call them Chinese. So these are the other foreign members who may be Chinese. Other Chinese idols in SM haven't had a problem. And considering the BS that Zumi and Henry have gotten, I mean, and that they're still there, I mean, I'm trying to figure out there's definitely more going on here, because it makes no sense why is it just EXO's Chinese members having these problems? Why is it not everyone else? What's the deal here? What's the deal? And yeah, we know you can't always trust SM, but even in the recent scandal with Girls' Generation, fans have slowly started to realize that there's more to the situation, and you can't just blame SM and go about your day, because in that case, people think that the group had more to do with it than what we think with Jessica's departure. And with Tao's case is even more confusing. I'll make a video on Tao when that situation gets sorted out, because I really don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on there. It's confusing. But yeah, I'm just confused about this whole situation. Like I won't put it past SM. If this turns out to be true, I won't be surprised. If it's not true, I won't be surprised either. Because on both sides, you can't really trust either side. Because I mean, last year the general idea was that he was leaving because he wanted to do more stuff, and SM wasn't letting him. And now we're hearing something about this recording, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? Huh? And SM, yeah, SM has done some bad stuff. SM's done some bad stuff, but you really can't. And of course, on that girl that outed him and said that the fame went to his head. You'll remember. I'll leave a link in the description to that article, because the girl pretty much she's not an XOL. I guess she knew she was in this friend circle of Kris, the non-idol friend circle, and she saw that he was pretty much a power-hungry jerk. According to her, the fame had gone to his head, and he was just hungry for fame. And SM it wasn't happening instantly with SM, and he was tired of waiting. But it's what I'll leave everything in the description, you guys. Leave your opinions also in the description. I'd like to hear it, because even though this came out, I still can't really believe it, because there's just so many. So y'all know the drill. All the links to everything you need to know is in the description. Shout out to my co-host. Bye, you guys.